borrowing Michael's money. Here's Craig.
The record companies really, really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artists.
July 7th, 2002, the king of pop was in Harlem taking his label Sony Music to task and claiming the music industry as a whole exploited black artists.
Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very, very, very devilish.
Michael's stunning statements that day at this very public event is now cited as evidence his will was forged and therefore invalid.
On July 7, 2002, he swore under penalty and perjury that the will was signed by Michael Jackson and another person on that will in Los Angeles. When in fact, there is footage that clearly shows that on July 7th, my brother was in Harlem with Al Sharpton. He was there the day before and the day after. I want some answers.
Michael Jackson's siblings, Janet, Reby, and Randy Jackson, continue their crusade to have the executors of Michael Jackson's will resigned. They believe that John Branca and John McClain forged Michael Jackson's will in 2002, a will that could be worth billions of dollars from that famous music catalog. Why would they do something like this?
Well, I would say for money. They're making 10% of any business transactions that are done inside the estate of Michael Jackson.
Jackson's will names his children, Prince, Paris, Prince Michael Joseph, known as Blanket, and his mother Catherine as sole beneficiaries, but gives complete control to the executors of the estate, John Branca and John McClain.
I don't get into that yet because we're looking at that too.
Michael's dad, Joe Jackson, tried to challenge the will shortly after Jackson's tragic death, claiming his son had fired Branca in 2003 after Michael said he uncovered evidence that Branca was embezzling him. Papa Joe also claimed the will was forged. The case was thrown out. Music industry insider Twiggy blogs about the drama.
There is a letter that Michael wrote to him. It's from February 2003, and he fired him. And John Branca was never brought back. He was never rehired.
Celebrity attorney Vicki Roberts once represented Jermaine Jackson, but says no one in the family has the right to challenge this will.
They're not a legatee. Under the probate code, if Mr. Jackson had died intestate, meaning he had no will, they wouldn't be entitled to take anything anyway. It's the nearest issue, or the nearest relatives, which would be his children.
A spokesman for Branca and McClain has denied from the start the claim that the will was fraudulent, and the public battle has the Jackson family seeking damage control. Janet Jackson's attorney released a statement that Janet, Randy, and Reby have questioned the validity of the will with no financial motive whatsoever. They stand to gain nothing financially by a finding that the will is invalid. He goes on to say the individuals who have the most to lose by a finding that the will is invalid are, of course, the executors and those on the executor's payroll. But Vicki Roberts has a theory.
The only way that I can see any of the siblings having any possibility to get any money out of this estate is to have Catherine Jackson declared incompetent and to ask a court to appoint them as co-conservators of the estate of Catherine Jackson. Then, theoretically, they would be entitled to receive monies in her care from the estate.
She is due 40%, the children 40%, and 20% to charity.
Great, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Now, Craig, let's put the issue of Michael's will's legitimacy aside for a second. The second issue, the more important issue, is whether Michael Jackson's 82-year-old mother, Catherine, was snatched, kidnapped, sequestered, whatever you call it, by her children. Now, I understand it was a Dr. Alan Metzger, I mentioned this with Tanae at the top of the show, who came to the house and said she had to go for this R&R with Rebbe, her daughter, rather than with Trent Jackson, who's in charge of security, her grandnephew. So what do you know about this Dr. Alan Metzger, who told the family and told Catherine that she had to go to this kind of rest retreat?
Yeah, he's a very interesting character. In fact, he at one point testified in the Conrad Murray manslaughter trial, stating that Michael Jackson had gone to him seeking prescription drugs illegally. He was actually testifying on behalf of Conrad Murray. Statements have been released by Catherine Jackson reportedly saying that Metzger went there stating that he was there for on behalf of her personal doctor, where in fact she says that never happened, that he had nothing to do with her personal physician.
So, Craig, quickly, who sent Metzger to the house to get Catherine to recuperate?
Right, I spoke to Perry Sanders Jr. He is Catherine's attorney, and he believes, well, he knows that Jermaine Jackson and Rebbie Jackson did know about this examination. He doesn't know whether or not it was Metzger that examined her firsthand, but he went to Tucson to talk to Catherine, and he did confirm that Catherine didn't know where she was going. She had no communication with the family. She didn't know that she was reported missing. She didn't know that the children were missing her. As soon as she found out that the children were concerned about her, she contacted them. She made arrangements to return home, and she did return home.
Tanae Jackson, Tito's daughter, the brother of, let me go to Tanae Jackson now. Craig, thanks. Can you comment on what you just heard, Tanae?
Yes, basically what I wanted to say before we had gone off, I just want to make it clear that she was not kidnapped. She was not kidnapped. It was a big misunderstanding about that. She was not kidnapped. As far as the legalities of the will, I stay out of that. One thing that I will comment on, that the gentleman had said earlier, if Michael wanted anyone to be on that will, their name would have been there. I don't think that the will is false, but I stay away from that part of it. But every family out there goes through issues, and this family is going to be fine. We're in the process of working it out, and it will be well.
All right, well, I just want to remind everyone, court papers make clear Catherine was prevented from communicating with outsiders at this Miraval Resort in Tucson. Her cell phone confiscated, her iPad confiscated, kept in a room with no working phone, no television, unaware that her grandchildren reported her missing. She told the court that she only discovered that people were searching for her when she accidentally heard a report on someone else's television. So is there a potential crime here? Did the adult children really just want her to get away from it at all? Three attorneys here to discuss and debate that. Ann Margaret Carrozza, an estate specialist in L.A., former Jackson attorney Mark Geraldo, and our own ace, Fox News legal analyst Bob Massey in Vegas tonight. Bob, you start off. What's your take?
Well, I think probably the most interesting comment I heard was from that very capable lawyer that does probate apparently in Los Angeles, that said that what's really the motive? These people that want or that are questioning all this really don't have standing. Even if this will is invalidated for some reason, the children still are the primary beneficiaries. As to Catherine, look, if she's not competent, if she can't act in the best interest of the children, then obviously the court has jurisdiction. Somebody can move in to have her removed, co-guardian appointed, and then you just continue to go on with the children.
Mark Aragos, what do you say, sir?
I tend to agree with today when she says, look, all families have issues. You could very easily interpret this as one part of the family wanted Catherine to get away. She's in her 80s. She's taking care of teenagers. Maybe they thought her health was challenged. They take her away. They don't want her to have any contact. They want her to relax. The kids get upset. I just think it's much ado about nothing, except that there's always a lot of money involved, and that tends to get people overheated.
All right, now, Ann Margaret Carrozza, thank you for coming. What do you think about the challenge? Did they even have standing to challenge this?
They don't have standing. They're time barred. California would require an objectant to file a proceeding within 120 days. That has clearly come and gone. I think the number one reason that people talk about the validity of a will, even in the absence of a bona fide challenge, is the hope of a settlement. And these documents actually give the trustees broad discretion to settle any claim or litigation against the estate.
You think they're looking for a settlement?
Without a doubt.
We'll talk much more. We'll have the conclusion of this special report. Talk more with our lawyers, plus the latest from Wisconsin. We're getting some disturbing information that the shooter who killed the 6 people in that mass killing in the Milwaukee suburb may have been ex-military. We'll be live from the scene. Give us a minute. We'll be right back.